Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Because Football Podcast. This is your host, Andrew. Today, we've got Daniel O. Diaz, founder, Fresh Coast FC, Icarus Cup participant. Daniel, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
First of all, I love to start out just to get to know you, right? Let us know where you're from and what's your earliest memory of the game?
Okay. Originally from Chicago, grew up playing there. I'd say two key memories. One of them is my father was born in Cuba but moved to Madrid as a teenager. And he has a famous story where he would go out and play on the playground and met all these guys. And, he was a quick athlete, could move around a bit, still kind of new to soccer. And, he was joining a match on the playground. And these guys are basically like, hey, man, no offense, dude. Like, you can't be with us. We're Castilla. We're these old school Real Madrid guys. And then some guys from Atletico Madrid shirts, the Colchonero red and white stripes, came and grabbed them. And he's like, hey, I'm the baker's son. I'm like, the cop's son. Why don't you come join us? And he played with these guys on the playground. So I grew up in Chicago watching the old Gold TV streams, Atletico Madrid matches with my pops, with my brothers, making breakfast, all that stuff too. So that's a great memory for me. And then early Chicago Fire, 1998, Risto Stoichkov, Jorge Campos, that era when we came in, being at Soldier Field and really feeling the energy there, I think is one of those other memories that's always stuck with me.
Yeah, man, it had some ballers for sure. The early MLS years. I love that story you shared, like with your dad's, one of your dad's earliest memories, and kind of bringing that together. It sounds like you didn't really have a choice in terms of supporting Atletico. Like that was the only way to go. And definitely no, Blancos for sure. The reason we're chatting to you here is we're getting ready for Icarus Cup, right? In collaboration with CASA, looking at this opportunity for you guys as Fresh Coast. You guys have been around for, I think, since 2013. So like 12 years now. Tell us a little bit about your history and kind of how this team got started.
So Fresh Coast FC was actually born in Chicago. It's before I moved to New York, 2013. A lot of players, we grew up in the Chicagoland area, had played NCAA for some years and had come back, and a lot of us living in the city. Chicago is an amazing soccer scene, but some of the bigger clubs were requiring you still had to go out and train. A lot of the pitches were out in the suburbs, and we were looking for something that's still would be at a high level, but perhaps a bit more social as well. So we've had Fresh Coast FC. We've had some amazing players come through the program, ex-pros, guys who have still continued to play at a high level. 2015, I came out to New York, working for NBC and Telemundo, our HQs here at Rockefeller Center, where I'm speaking to you now from. Brought the club with me, and then the mission of the club was always, make it philanthropic, social football. So all the players are required to do 10 hours of community service. But in exchange for that, we offer a high level of competition. Right now, we're primarily playing sevens in New York. That's kind of like the local match format here. And we're able to secure sponsorships from local bars. Michelob Ultra is one of our sponsors now. They've been super supportive. We've had, even when we first started in New York City, we were searching for kind of our kickoff sponsor. It was Hank's Juicy Beef, the only Italian beef restaurant in Manhattan. So they were right across the chest, and we've always kind of been able to walk this line of, again, having a good time after matches. Always great food, some drinks, all that stuff, but still a high level of football. And then that communal side of the club has really shown through. So that's who we are in a nutshell.
I noticed that from going through some of your guys' social media. Like, I'm sure some people listening, they're struggling just to get 7 to show up on a Thursday night, on a Saturday, what it is. But you guys have the service component. I saw you guys do formals and events. What do you think has led to that? Because that speaks to something within the culture of the club, and obviously now 12 years in, it's something you guys have certainly developed and is like an expectation. But what do you think are some of those ingredients that kind of allow you guys to kind of have that real community and culture within your team?
I mean, I think that's the DNA. We have, excuse the language, we hold a very strict no asshole policy on the club, and before anyone joins the team or is even a part of our social events, we make it very clear that this is more than just showing up, with your shin bags and your cleats in the bag and rolling out there. We expect this to be more, and it's cliche, but more Meshkum club, more than a club, feels more like a family, right? So from day one, we make that very clear, and then it really does become, especially in New York, where we're almost like we feel like expats, even in our own country, people coming from all over the country, all over the world. It becomes, I think, a core component of the social lives of a lot of our players as well.
Yeah, and how do you guys get new players? What draws people to the team? You mentioned a little bit there, but as things happen, people get older, they start a family, they
Right.
move, whatever it might be, schedules change. So it's like always looking for reinforcements. How do you guys kind of find new players and bring them into the fold and make sure they do fit that identity that you're talking about?
Yeah, we've had. I mean, I think a lot of it just comes down to who we are, and I think how the community sees us as a club. We we've had a reloading gun for years now, and as some of our elder players age out gracefully, there's always kind of this contingent that's moving behind there. So we rely on some young blood, but also keeping connections alive. And I think that's also speaks to the community of soccer, especially in New York City, where you have all this talent coming in, professional talent as well as football talent. And what they're looking for is a really authentic experience that, again, goes beyond just what happens within the touchlines. So being able to offer on a weekly basis a post-game celebration at a bar, Milano is one of the oldest bars in Manhattan, who's been wonderful to us. We've been supported by some amazing other groups. Joey Bats is a pastéis de nata restaurant, and even his mother would be cooking for us after matches. We'd be drinking Superbach, watching the afternoon slate of games, and people hear about us, see us on social media, and they say, let me go check them out. And if someone does reach out with a cold DM, or they hear about us through friends, I say the first place to start with us is at a post-game social event, typically on a Thursday or Sunday. Let's talk. Let's get to know you. We'll let you know what we're all about. And then from there, we can see if we can get you some minutes or a trial on the field itself. So we've kind of reverse engineered it, where the social component really is the foundation for us, and that community side of it. Yeah. And then if you happen to be able to kick it around in the field pretty well, you're in the right place.
Yeah, I love the community piece. I mean, that's what really Because Football is about, is like the parts of our lives, the relationships, the moments, those memories that come because of our involvement, because of our passion for the game. And the community piece, I think, is a big value of the Icarus Cup as well, of Icarus FC, of CASA. What do you guys get out of that tournament? I know it's been quite a few years now. I think you guys were part of that first edition, if I'm not mistaken. So what kind of drew you guys to that? What keeps you coming back, down I-95 every year down to Philly?
Well, I mean, yeah, back to 2021, I think when we talk about the values of our club and we talk about what's important for our players and our friends and fans, again, it's what happens beyond the match itself. And we've been working with Icarus since even before Icarus Cup. We've always found, again, that grassroots, but still ambitious and very proud sort of ethos. It matches a lot with us. That's why we stay with Icarus. When they announced the tournament, we thought, this sounds perfect. We know they're going to do a great job because they're just professional and really have a love to the game similar to ours. But we also take it upon ourselves to I think, represent New York City and represent our home leagues and how New York City plays 7v7 format in New York, I think, is the most dynamic. There's 11s, obviously, 99, which is great. But because of the way that New York City is built out and how we're all on top of each other, our home pitch, Nike Field at Sarah D. Roosevelt Park, I mean, it looks like a FIFA video game pitch. Graffiti on the sides.
Like the old FIFA street and everything. Yeah.
People walking by. I mean, there's so many people around. There's so many bars around. So people come, they're hanging onto the fence, they're cheering you on. You see it. We really take 77 very seriously. And we wanted to take it upon ourselves again to not only represent our club and have a great job, do a great job, and really go out there and play good football, but also to wear a bit of that New York City on our shoulders and say, hey, you know what? Like this is 7v7 is our sport, so this format couldn't be more perfect for us.
Yeah, that was something I was curious about, because I think, with the proximity, right, there's so many rivalries between between New York and Philly. Even though you're a
Yeah.
transplant, do you feel like you're still carrying that as well, and all your guys are bringing that down to Philly? And my other piece of that is like, what have you seen about the soccer culture within Philly, and that kind of comes out particularly on Icarus Cup, that might be a little distinct, might be a little bit different from what you guys have going on in New York?
I mean, I love it. I think CASA does a really nice job. It's just some of the different personalities we've met, and we go out of our way to again really take the social component as part of this. We rent a big Airbnb. All the guys stay together. We're out afterwards. I mean, we've had some late nights with some of the refs from CASA, just talking shop, and I feel like I think there's a lot of similarities between.
Did I hear backroom deals for last minute PKs? Is that what I heard?
No. I mean, hey, look, and we have the bar tabs too, but no, they've been great. And I think it's all about the personalities. I think Chicago also and Philly, there's a lot of similarities, and not only in terms of like the map, but also I think culturally in the football scene, Philadelphia is right between Chicago and New York. So a lot of it goes back to kind of our Chicago roots, even though it's been a decade plus since we've been there. We love that idea of a city with so much culture, with so much heritage, all these different groups that are representing, different clubs from, historically German or some of the Latino countries, or being able to hear 5, 6 different languages on the pitch at once in the same match. I mean, that's really something that we've had in our DNA that we really appreciate. So we look at Icarus Cup in Philly as not only a great opportunity for us, a bit of a field trip for the boys, get out there and get on the road and have that kind of away tournament experience, but also kind of as a nod to what is good and what is right about the sport in the United States. So they do a fantastic job, and we're excited to go back every year.
Yeah, 100%, man. I think the piece you drew on there, just the diversity of football styles that come from the cultural background and some of the history and that context too is, I think, rich. I feel very fortunate. Even as I travel around the world, like this year, been traveling all over, and the
Hmm.
US, like it doesn't get more diverse, obviously culturally, but when it comes to football too, and our backgrounds and styles, we really have everybody. I remember playing in so many different pickup settings and stuff within Philly and around, and you can
Yeah.
just get into, you learn so much, and you're just seeing so many different things on the pitch too, and socially it's just amazing.
Hmm.
How did you guys do last year at Icarus Cup? How was I know you've had, I think I saw, was it 17 trophies you guys have on the Instagram bio?
Yeah.
Was last year's Icarus Cup one of those? How did you guys do?
We made it to the semifinals, a brilliant run. We were actually runners up the year before. Um, that's the boys. They do a great job. We're not sleeping in our own beds out there, and it's a social club. We have a tradition too, where we have our sport coat supper the night before, and we were at Disney Golf in Philly last time around. We've been with that restaurant group for a while. We also have been to Zahab, a few of them. So the boys get together on Friday night, and we always say we're going to take it very easy. It's going to be light. We're going to talk tactics, but a couple of bottles of wine start getting out there, and that third order of
Everybody
hummus
gets
comes in, and
excited. Yeah.
yeah, man, like what can you do? So we have actually one of our midfielders. He's a classic player, and I'll speak to you later. Every player on our team has to have an animal nickname to even get on the field. That way, no one gets too big for their britches. Um, this midfielder, his name is Andre. He's the Badger, but he's also a wine expert. And one of the traditions we have is
Mm.
he will go around and um, and pair wine for the supper, and he has to match it with a historic football player. So he's done like Robbie Fowler. He's gone back and Marco Sena, and he'll take the attributes of this player and have us guess what wine we're going to be pairing with our
Unbelievable.
meal. Yeah, man, so it's a good time. But what happens then is, next thing you know, it's where like, we have a curfew. The lads are also still out there socially hanging out and doing some good stuff. So we really do our best. But I think by the time we get to the semifinals, if not the finals, they can already kind of like taste the Michelob Ultra they're going to be having after the game. So this year, I think as we get older, we might have to be a little bit stricter on the curfew and maybe on our
Gotcha.
consumption on Friday night. But yeah, we've had some really good runs, and and perhaps that fun social component hasn't served us the best as we get to the later rounds in that summer Philly heat.
but it makes for the memories, right? I think everybody can relate to, the long weekend away with friends, and you get all the endorphins going, and you release the work week, and you're
Right.
here and you're ready. And sometimes you get a little bit carried away, especially if you have a expert sommelier in the side. So maybe bring some water to back that up. It was unbelievably hot last year for sure. I wasn't even playing and I was struggling, so I can't imagine how you guys did it as well.
Yeah.
Another thing I think is a big piece, and I want to bring it to, is you guys had a pretty iconic look. I know it was for last year. I don't know the history of it, maybe in your local league as well, but you guys were going sleeveless. We're talking about the Icarus Kips. You guys went sleeveless. It's like a nice pink with the orangish red font around it to match your guys' badge. But is that a look you think suits you guys? Is that coming back for next year?
Yeah, I mean, like we should probably bring out the bands before to get a couple curls before the match. But one of the cool things I think about working with Icarus as well is they allow us to be very creative. We try to take our playing style serious, but perhaps ourselves not as seriously. And the cool thing again about New York is you have all these different cultures tied in. The food is outstanding. The people are so wonderful. There's a famous restaurant, Wu's Wonton King, down the Lower East Side. Mr. Wu, Derek Wu, has been a fulcrum for us. Allowed us to have these big, BYO wine-friendly dinners post game. He was one of the first restaurants that we were able to hit as a club when we first moved down to downtown New York from Chicago. We kind of gave Icarus the assignment, and they delivered for sure. And I've had a few of the guys I know have gone in there and had some duck and some walnut shrimp and all that too. I think that maybe helped with the creative process and met Mr. Wu. But yeah, it's the Wu's Wonton King. It has the characters there, and it's in Cantonese. We get a lot of love for that one. But it's cool because again, these guys are wearing these tanks not only during the hot summer months on the pitch where it's New York and you do have a lot of heat coming around from being in the city and getting out there, but also socially. I mean, we get offers all the time. People trying to buy it off of our backs down in Miami. Friends who are vacationing in Portugal or in Spain saying, I've never gotten more love than my Icarus Wu's Wonton King tank. So it's that awesome combination of being able to go on the field and feel good about what we're wearing, but also have this kind of fashion social component that really ties into who we are as a club.
Looking forward to this year, other than maybe taking a little bit easier on the wine. What are you guys looking forward to in terms of Icarus Cup 2025?
Well, we got the Airbnb all booked up. We're ready to roll. We have a couple of new faces, some young guns, and it's always exciting when it's someone's first Icarus Cup. We kind of prep them. Some of the elders on the team will kind of give them the lowdown. But until they're really there, in the house with us, getting ready, trying to make it to the pitch, get the warm up in. It's hard for them to, I think, to understand just how fun and exciting the tournament is, how close we become as a club. So that's always, I think, the most exciting part for me. It's going back to Philly, seeing some of these teams and referees that we've built some relationships with over the years, but also that first time that a young coaster or one of our new signees steps on the pitch, either at Drexel or somewhere else in Philly. You can kind of see it in their eyes. They're like, wow, this is something special.
Absolutely, man. Especially getting the whole group together. Like, it reminds me, the way you're talking is like the first travel soccer tournament, for anybody listening who remembers that back in the day, right? And those times together, like taking that to the next level with your team. And it's all obviously on the pitch is key, and you want to do well, right? Because you're making the trip, and no matter how far past it we might feel, we still want to give our best performance. But again, it's everything around it. It's the breaks in between. It's your Friday evenings, your Saturdays, and everything. So that's brilliant. For anybody, teams out there, clubs out there who maybe aren't as familiar with Icarus Cup, with Icarus in general, what would you say? And if they're kind of considering taking this step themselves from maybe just being a league team or something to then, taking that extra step to be part of this event?
Yeah, I think, Icarus themselves, I always say they're everything that's right about the football, the soccer community here in the States. And I'm personally really proud of who they've become, what they've accomplished. the fact that they put on this tournament and the sweat and probably some tears in there too of putting this on with CASA to make sure it's such a special event. Like, we don't take it for granted. I'll just say, there's a level for everyone, and it's one of those memories that's built in such a special way. We've had on our roster specifically, a lot of our guys have played at a very high level, NCAA, D1, semi-pro, abroad, etc. I'm told time and time again, these are some of their greatest soccer memories, is being at Icarus Cup with Fresh Coast FC. So we're really proud to be representing our club, New York City, and also just very grateful for the fact that something like this exists and allows us to really make the most of the game that we love.
Amazing, man. No, it's brilliant. And I can echo that in terms of what Icarus is doing, what CASA is doing in being kind of the organizing backbone to help. So we're getting the best of both worlds.
Totally.
Since this is Because Football podcast, Daniel, the way we like to end each one of these, I'm going to put you on the spot here.
Sure.
Could you complete the sentence? Complete the sentence, because football.
Because football, I have made some of the greatest friendships of my life.
That's what it's about, man. So let's see what those friendships can do on the pitch. Fresh Coast FC, Icarus Cup, July 2025. Thank you for being here and sharing your story. And for everybody listening and watching, appreciate it. And we'll see you guys at Icarus Cup. Peace.